Thursday night.
We
And
sure are. Sure
yeah,
are.
we appreciate y'all staying up late to jump on the old live stream with us. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they call it, is the live stream.
The live
Um,
stream, bro.
yeah, you probably heard of it. Just got a notification. We're live. Yep,
Look at that. We're live.
yep. So, here's what we're going to talk about this week. We're going to talk about ChatGPT. You heard it here first, folks. If you think about it, where was the first place you heard this technology talked about? It was right here on the Catch Up Podcast. And as far as I'm concerned, too, we're the only ones regularly telling you all of the great things this can do. Because everywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, how many jobs is it going to take? Oh, are kids not doing their own homework now? Oh my God. There are so many possibilities for this technology. And we're out here talking about our kids cheating on their homework.
Mm-hmm.
So, the latest innovation integration station is Chat GPT Plus. Now, I'm going to break it down for you guys real quick. For my current plan of free Chat GPT, available when demand is low, which, let me tell you something. Demand is high. It's always high. 24/7 demand is high all around the world. Standard response speed and regular model updates, which is great. The updates
Mm-hmm.
have been great. There was one update where I thought it made the responses worse. Um, Still fantastic, but not as good as they were. I think that has gone, and I think that it's back to being great again. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but the upgraded plan is available. It's on a separate server, and it's available even when demand is high. You get faster response speed, and you get priority access to new features. Sounds exciting, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of that for $20 a month. Are you kidding me?
I know.
I could get 2 Disney Plus subscriptions for that.
I mean, you can get the top end of the Netflix subscription, man.
I know, and we talked about this before, that we'd be down to pay for Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Those are worthwhile features. I don't know if they're $20 a month features though. That's crazy to me.
But I mean, think about it though, right? How many times do you use it in your day? Is it a daily thing? I feel like if it's a daily thing that you're consistently using it and something that you lean on quite a bit, you get your $20 worth pretty quick, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. I use it every single day.
See?
So I do. I use Chat GPT in some form every single day, even if it's on a weekend. Um, and I need help writing a social media post, need some sort of inspiration. I almost never have used anything that ChatGPT has written as a social media post for this podcast. For well, that's not true. We have used it for episode descriptions for this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as like just genuine social media posts, I haven't. Not for that, not for my band, because they're not, like, you have to be very specific to give it the idea of what you're looking for, and at that point you're like, why didn't I just write it?
Yeah.
So
There is some massaging that has to happen.
yes, now if you're not a writer, this is a point that I saw brought up the other day. See, the funny thing about it, professional writers are concerned about what this means for the future of their industry, of their jobs. Non-professional writers are excited about it because now they have access uh, to opportunities that they were hindered by because they never took writing classes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so it's just funny, those different perspectives. Anyway, we're going to talk about this Plus program, and we're also going to talk about how ChatGPT, the one and the only, the GOAT, is integrating with Microsoft products, namely Bing and teams.
Hmm.
So we want to talk about those two things. So you know what I always say. What do I always say, Dennis?
What do you always say?
Oh man, you if you don't know, how are the people supposed to know? I always say, let's go ahead and get into it.
Of course.
Guys, I'm punch drunk. I've literally worked all day and I just had my first meal of the day about an hour and a half ago. So
Yeah.
here we are.
Yeah,
All
we're,
right.
we're both kind of in that same boat, man.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
It's a make a fun
it's
episode.
been a long week.
Yeah. Oh god. I almost got in a fight at the gym today.
Really?
Not really. But this guy did come this guy did come at me though. He, and I quote, could not believe that I was using one machine to superset two different workouts on. Just boggled his mind. Couldn't understand it. He was like, if you weren't doing that, I could have worked in with you. I'm like, bro, COVID's still a thing. I don't want your sweaty ass on this machine
Exactly.
while I'm working on it. He would not leave it alone, man. It was wild. And I had to get I've had a couple situations where my temper has flared up this past week, but I snapped back at him pretty crazily, man. Not crazily, I shouldn't say that. That's not true. I
Hmm.
but I did snap back at him though, because I'm like, I think I said something to the effect of, and I'm very much paraphrasing this, but I said something to the effect of, well, if it was that big of a deal to you, I said, I'm sorry it's that big of a deal to you, apparently, but uh, no, oh yeah, yeah. I go, well, apparently it's a much bigger deal than I thought it was, considering there's all these machines in this gym, and I apparently took the only one you're interested in using. And, and then I literally, when I got done, I just grabbed my stuff. I was like, all right, man, have a great time. It's all yours. I walked off, and then I heard him talking to me about me to some random guy that he just like grabbed out of a lineup. I was walking back by. He didn't expect me to walk back by. I just stared at him dead in his eyes. And he like changed the subject when I got closer. I was like, bro. He was a middle-aged guy, if not a little older. And I've seen him. I'm pretty confident I've seen him like upset somebody else in the gym with that kind of stuff. I'm like, bro, what is wrong with you? Like, that's literally the essence of superset. He goes, you should. He tried to tell me, he's like, you should be doing rear delt flies over there and doing the crunches on this machine in between that. And I'm like, buddy, we both know that if I do that, I'm not going to have this machine available to me because people like you would have come and taken it from me. Like, what?
Exactly. He's just a vulture. He's going around waiting for you to leave so that
Yeah,
he can stay up on that machine and claim it as his own.
I know. I guess now I'm just, how this started was I was working out and everything, and I get done with my first set doing that, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey," he uh he goes, "How many sets you got left?" I go, "Oh, I got 3 sets left." I was doing 4 sets, I just started. I got 3 sets left. He goes, "And you're doing curls with that too?" Or, and I was like, "Not curls. No, I'm doing rear delt flies with it." He goes, "Okay, all right." And I was like, "Okay." So I get ready to do my next set. I put my headphones back on. I hear him go, "I guess I'll just be patient then." And I was like, you know how many ways there are to do crunches? Like, I can count 12, like off the top of my head, dude. And so he proceeds to stand at the machine next to me for the next 2 sets. And he's not looking directly at me, but he's looking in my direction the whole time, my general direction. And I'm like, and the whole time I'm standing up and the clock is behind me. I time myself in between sets. And I turn around. I have my back to him. I'm just watching the clock. And the third time, or sorry, in between the third and fourth set, my last 2 sets, he taps me on the arm. And I'm like, I turn around and he goes, and that's when that started. He goes, if you weren't doing those two workouts on this one machine, I could have worked in with you. I go, well, I only got one more set, but if it's that serious to you, go right ahead. And that's where it started. but, but I mean, I think a lot of times, whether they're older than you or not, but especially when older people treat you like that, they think they can push you around because you are younger. And some people, I look younger than I actually am,
Hmm.
so you might just think I'm some kid or whatever. But I knew, man, especially when it's a testosterone fueled environment like that, like I was like, I have to nip that in the bud or it's just going to keep continuing, you know so I was like, nah,
Oh yeah,
that's
for sure.
not today, bro. Like, not you picked the wrong week to mess with me, my guy, I'm
You're
telling you.
not gonna give me. You're not gonna
No.
get out on me and hog this whole machine.
No. No, man. Oh, man. And I'm dead serious, and you know this. There's literally like a dozen different ways you can do crunches, like that. You don't have to do that one. In fact, I don't even think it's, if you're looking for something that's easier on your body, like less harsh on your back or whatever, that's not the one to do. I don't know why it was that serious to him. It was wild. So anyway, all right. Funny story for the episode. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? I'm John,
And I'm Dennison.
and this is the catch up. Yeah, I got some rock action. Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. Just like grandma used to. Come out of the bushes, man. Stab him. You got him, man. You got him. It's a bunch of old classic Hodge twins right there. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, bro. 3, 2, 1. Before we get fully back into our topic, I want to remind you guys the three best ways to support us. Number one, uh, follow us if you're not already. If you're listening on the audio, jump on over to the live stream with us. We go live every Thursday night, and it's a two-way discussion that we get to have with you, with whatever topic we're talking about that week. It's a chance to make your voice heard, and you can also let us know what you think of the episodes or what topic you'd like to hear us discuss, all in real time. That's one. What's two, you ask? Well, I can tell you. Number two, nope. Oh my gosh. Well, reason 22,222, according to Dennison's phone, is you should leave us a rating and review. Subscribe. Let us know. There, there you go. There you go. Let us know what you think of each episode and of the show as a whole. Each reaction helps the show grow and it helps us learn what we're doing great and what we can do better. And number three, there it is. There it is. Hit the link down below to go to our shop, get you some good, clean, catch up podcast merch like this classic Let's Go Ahead and Get Into It tee, available in a multitude of colors and sizes as well. We also have long sleeves, hoodies, beanies, hats, so many things. And all of that, well, not all of it. I wish I could tell you each penny would go to support us. We have to pay, so it's printed and sent to you, but a percentage of that monetary value will go to support this show. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so we've talked about ChatGPT Plus a little bit. I think, are you underwhelmed by the Plus subscription? To me, I thought there would be more.
You know, I am and I am and I'm not underwhelmed at the same time. If that makes any sense.
A little
Um,
bit.
I think yes, features wise, I am underwhelmed because I expected it, like you said, to have more. I expected there to be more, but at the same time, I also understand that all of this is still very much in its infancy. Right? Think about it. Chat GPT gained as many like uh people people using the site um in 2 months, if I'm not mistaken, 2 to 3 months, something like that,
Yeah.
that it took like TikTok to gain in 9 months.
Yeah. Insane.
So so I feel like it ramped up a lot faster than OpenAI thought it was going to. And so that's the reason why I think right now they're kind of on the back foot, right? One, their server cost is going up. So that's the other reason why they're probably that why they've created this tier, right? Yeah, sure you have investments from Big Daddy, Microsoft, right?
No. Yeah.
The
I,
$1 billion that they put in there.
I thought you were gonna
But
talk
actually,
about
I
Big Daddy
think it's
Week,
been like
the worst
10
beef.
billion at this point or something like that, some more
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Um, but uh but I mean, it's still a lot. And so I think they have stuff up their sleeve. It's just right now it's not there. But it's essentially just getting people in there and started, and then from there they can kind of move to different realms. Plus they'll be able to use that extra capital to, you know,
Build it
devise a
out.
couple of different things. Yeah.
Well, and I think question, answer, and solved right there, is that they are going to use that platform. Um, they want to move people off of the free one, of course, but they also don't want too many people to move on to the new one. So they had to market it at a value that would just attract just the right amount, right?
Yeah.
Um, uh,
Exactly.
yeah. So that is that's a good point, honestly. Yeah, I like that. With that
Well,
said, do you see a point where a variety of chat GPTs become available? Like you have chat GPT, chat GPT plus, chat GPT blue, you know, uh, chat GPT OnlyFans, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think so. I think it's only going to really be I think they're only going to go with this plus model. Just because you have Microsoft, right? I feel like if they start charging too much or they create too many tiers, um it starts becoming a bigger, like almost a direct competition to some of the stuff that Microsoft is doing. This Chat GPT Plus is just for OpenAI and
Mm,
not for Microsoft, who is a big investor in it.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so I would say, in my opinion, I would say um, that we're just going to keep this one tier, right? Maybe the price will go up a little bit as time goes on and they add more users and features and stuff like that. But I do think that eventually that will happen. Um, I have a question for you though, right?
okay.
So, you already said that $20 is kind of a lot. And it's probably something that you probably wouldn't use, right? Or you probably wouldn't subscribe to for $20 just to use Chat GPT. And yeah, you get more things faster and stuff like that. But right now it's just not at the right proposition for you, right?
I'm thinking about it, but yeah, right.
Okay, so what happens if this is a hypothetical, and honestly, I can see it happening in the future.
Okay.
If ChatGPT has or starts essentially um having some sort of ads in the free version.
Oh man. So I'm like, give me a podcast episode description for this topic. And it's like Whopper, Whopper, Whopper Junior triple bacon.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh
Exactly.
god, dude. I will tell you that would make me pay for it pretty much immediately. Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
wouldn't make you abandon the chat GPT. It would just make you want to pay for it.
Well, here's the thing. This is interesting. I was thinking about it while you were saying that earlier. I don't view it like I do with social media, right? So like
Hmm.
that you made that comparison. I could live without social media. and I could live without this too. But I think that some of those YouTube videos I've seen, or perhaps articles where it's like 10x your productivity with ChatGPT, I don't think that's clickbait. And knowing that that is out there, that would be tough to let go. And it's
Mm,
actually why I would, even though I do think that that is a steep price, consider paying for ChatGPT because of the benefits um, that come with it. You know?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's my thing. I honestly, I think I would pay for it, um, if I felt that there was eventually going to be some sort of ad tier or something similar to that. Honestly, I do feel, because we have to also still kind of remember that Chat GPT, at least in its free version, is still technically a beta.
Yes. Yes. Right. It
Very
says try
much
now at
so.
the top of OpenAI's website. Yes.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. And so, eventually it's going to get to that point where paying for it is going to be, the only real alternative, unless you want, your answers to be spat back out with other ads, or something similar to that, or there's going to be ads all over the little chat GPT page, something similar to that, because they'll have to make some sort of money. Because, this $20 tier, it's even if you get, a fraction of the people of the user base that is currently using the free version of chat gpt, even if we say, a quarter of those people move over to the $20 tier, that's still not going to be enough money, I don't think, to um really make it viable for them to continue the free version as well,
Well, yeah,
without extra things.
I agree. It does. Yeah, I think that would be revolutionary in and of itself, having ads in an AI model. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't want to see that, but you never know. That tends to be the way this kind of stuff goes. Um, and as it stands now, I mean, Microsoft is integrating this more and more, so I think they'll see the money making opportunities. Maybe there'll be a Chat GPT brought to you by triple bacon whopper, you know. Um, I don't
Well,
know.
maybe.
But with that said, let's talk about Microsoft real quick.
Yeah, of course.
Um, so they are integrating Chat GPT with Bing and with Teams. Both of those are really interesting to me. I looked up the Teams way. How is it working with Bing though? Is it powering the search engine for Bing since Bing kind of sucks?
Yeah, well, it's so right now it's in a
Is it like an
testing.
Ask Jeeves?
It's kind of similar to that. So it's changing the way that we think of search engines, which I think is probably the best way that you can do it, right?
Mhm.
Especially if you want to truly be a good competitor to Google, because still you can't, and we already know this, right? And that's the biggest thing that I think that has already started the biggest, or the probably one of the great things of ChatGPT, is that you can kind of almost instantly just be like, ask it a question and then it spits something out that is actually a pretty decent answer, right? Um, Translating that into our normal search, right, of Google, and actually having like drill down context, because that's the
Mm,
issue, right? We'll get to, usually you can type in that one question like, I don't know, how do I blend food, or what, or how do I blend food, or something similar to that. And then you get results, right? But
yeah.
then if you want to get more specific, there's not really a way to do that. You can't go within the same context in a search, in like Google or whatever. You can't go within the same context and be like, but how do I blend like this specific food or something similar to that? You can
Mm,
try and it gives you similar stuff, but it's not great, right?
right.
Um, and you still have to kind of do your own drilling. I think, and I think the way that they're trying to do it currently is they're trying to make it to where you get that kind of conversationalized searching, where it's like Okay, so I'm looking for how to start knitting. Like, what's the best way to start knitting, right? And then it spits out an answer. And then you're like, okay, so what are the best tools for me to start knitting with? And then it's like, bam, here you go. These are some good tools for you. I think,
Sure.
or that's the way that, if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of what they're trying to go for because it's kind of it'll be like a chatbot search
So
is
what
what they're going
that
for.
essentially means to me, theorizing here, is it's going to give ChatGPT the missing component, which is internet connectivity. It's going to give
Hmm.
it that because it's not currently connected to the internet. It was learned through it. Interesting to me. I'm sure they're not going to have it in learning mode because that could go south really quickly.
Yeah.
Um, like if I was like, how do you make a cinnamon pancake? And it's like Nazis invaded Germany in 1937. I'm like, hold
Yeah.
on. not
It's
not
true.
that again.
It's true.
Yeah,
Microsoft has made that mistake once before. They're not going to do it again.
yeah, exactly. Also, Facebook, please don't flag. Or in YouTube, please don't flag this live stream just because I said Nazi.
Yes, please
Um,
no.
it's a piece of history. I don't know. That was it's a joke. Jesus. Anyway, so uh, let's see. Yeah. Okay. So with that, kind of an overarching view of how that works, but with teams,
Mhm.
what's the so my first initial thing when I was reading this is ChatGPT is going to help improve your team's messaging.
Yep.
Uh, but man, I gotta tell you, like, Grammarly does that. Like, literally, and I'm not trying to make a joke either. Like, Grammarly, literally, the free version will improve your writing, for free.
Mhm.
And it's not an AI, and it's not. Is this maybe just a bit of a branding thing with them?
I mean, honestly, I think it's a little bit of both, right? I think it is a branding thing. I think it's another thing that they can use to help increase their market share for teams, right? Because they're still kind of trying to um, claw back the market share when it comes to Zoom. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things for Microsoft for them to do that.
Yeah,
Um, but I think, yeah, I think and it's also a good way to integrate it. It can be because think about it, right? Teams already has it to where you can create APIs to integrate applications automatically into Teams.
sure.
But if and so that's where Grammarly comes into play. So if you wanted to include Grammarly directly into Teams, you can do that, right?
Yeah,
I can't honestly, off the top of my head, I can't think of if Grammarly does have like a plugin or something like that. It
it
might
does.
uh
Yep.
into Teams,
Into teams.
yeah,
I actually
directly
I
into
think it
Teams.
does. I think it does.
So yeah, if it does, then there's that. But
Yeah.
this means though that you'll have a Microsoft chatbot that'll come in that can do the edits there, but it can also give you better conversation pieces or like, hey, I need to talk to my teammate about this. What's a better way for me to bring this up? Grammarly can't do that, right?
Yes.
It's not going to be able to give you full phrases and sentence like full like paragraphs or like maybe you should approach it this way or whatever like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Plus
and
you
I
could
say, oh, go
yeah,
ahead. Sorry.
well, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, you go ahead. I apologize.
No, no, no worries. I was just gonna say, plus you could also use it for, um, if you wanted to integrate it in some sort of like a customer service version of it, right?
Yes, which
Right?
is the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I stand corrected. Grammarly is not a part of Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
And actually, also for those following along at home, this would be a extension of Chat GPT Plus. So if I'm not mistaken, you would have to pay for this
Yes.
for it to be integrated into Teams.
Yes.
But
It would be a part of the Teams premium subscription, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Um,
yes, there you go. That's what
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, it's a part of
And
the Teams premium deal. It's one of the newer licenses that Microsoft has come out with for Teams,
yeah,
um, that gets stacked on top of the already price that you pay for Teams.
sure.
Um, and so I think this is another way to kind of beef up that premium deal, that premium license that they created.
Yeah,
Honestly, coming from a business standpoint of what Teams Premium was before this new announcement, um, I don't think it was worth that additional license. There were some cool features in there, and
yeah,
I saw some stuff that they were working on and they were getting ready to push out, but it wasn't to the effect that I think it could have been.
sure.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think this conversation really just shows that ChatGPT is here to stay as our conversational AI. We know that Google is pushing their version of conversational AI to come out very
yep,
rapidly, and of course they're going to integrate it in the similar way that Microsoft is, obviously.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Microsoft
um,
has, or sorry, Google has a lot to kind of catch up with.
yeah, absolutely. At this point, they do, and that's not any fault of their own necessarily. It's just how quickly this has become a mainstay in our
No,
society.
no,
Uh,
I'd say it's a fault on their own.
really?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's because think about it, right? This is Google, right? They are all about AI and especially conversational AI. Think about Google Assistant. As much as they've really pushed, right? Sure, Microsoft has tried conversational AI or even some sort of assistance or something like that. That's why we had Cortana and stuff like that. But for the longest time, they've kind of been dropping the ball, right? You had
Yeah.
Bing. Everybody knew Bing's not great, right?
Right.
Bing is the butt of the joke, or is always a butt of the joke. But now with this integration, it's a big deal. But this, I guess, what I'm really trying to say is that a lot of this makes it so that, or it shows how much Google has just been kind of coasting, right? Bless you.
Thank you.
Um,
Yes.
uh,
No, that's fair. They've been resting on Chrome and their Pixel phone for a
Yeah,
while now.
well, and also they showed, I think, what, maybe 2017, I think it was, Lambda, I think it was Lambda, or one of their, they showed a really really good chatbot, essentially like a language based AI model, um that it would say like, okay, tell me about Pluto, and it gives you all these cool facts, and then you could like tell it to talk, essentially do what Chat GPT does, right?
Yeah.
um
Right.
but they didn't really push on that, right? They just kind of showed it, so I feel like, I guess what I'm this is just going back to what I said before. I feel like Google could have better prepared for this. It's just, I think they just missed the mark. And
Sure.
now they're playing catch up in something that I feel like they have been pushing for years, which has been AI driven everything, right? AI driven search, AI driven, automation, AI driven assistance, all that stuff. They've been
Yeah.
pushing that for years, and now they're kind of on the back foot by a new company in Microsoft, which is
Right.
probably one of the scariest competitors for them because it's someone who is at the same level as them and can probably push them a lot faster, or essentially speed through a process because they have a lot of money, um, a lot faster than if Google has to come up with it, right? It's
Sure.
going up against another tech giant, and that's not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, and that really has kind of allowed Microsoft to have a resurgence. I mean, Microsoft has always been there,
Mhm.
but I would say with it being in the public name, pop culture, if you will. it's been dormant for a while. And so I think allowing them to play a major role with AI, which will definitely be the future, especially conversational AI. Again, I was listening to even more media talking about this, and just without trying it, talking about, well, I just don't think it really has the creativity that a human has. Yes, it does. It may not be good, but it does have that. It has learned how to be creative,
Yep.
which, let us be clear, with few exceptions, of course, like Michelangelo or Shakespeare or people like that, the Beatles, like they took their own thing and was completely unique with it, right? But everyone has inspiration, and for the most part, creativity is based off of something that you liked, and then you transition to your own. That's no different than what these conversational AIs are doing.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I just think that it is the way of the future, and I really do think that if you want to upgrade your productivity, and you work with something that involves writing, involves coding, involves a creative atmosphere, you're shooting yourself in the foot if you're not at least using ChatGPT free. And I know us being among the early adopters, it's gonna be tough for me not to take part in that plus. You know,
Yeah. Same.
personally, I don't need it for the teams because I mean, honestly, I can just use it, as it is
Same.
now. I kind of feel like, yeah, that might be a bit of a waste, but it will be interesting to see how it transforms search engines and watch Bing overtake Google if it does. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
No, I mean, I think for sure the teams things is more of an organizational thing. Um, but yeah, I think for sure, have watching it overtake Google, I think will be really seeing the resurgence of Bing, you know, where Bing can be in the realm of a verb,
yeah,
I've watched a YouTuber say, being, as we already know, like Google. Well, did you Google that? Right?
yeah,
It'd be interesting to see a future where Bing is now a verb, right? Did you Bing it?
that would be
Something
weird.
that Microsoft has been trying for years.
Oh, dude, if they don't use Matthew Perry for that, some Chandler Bing action, dude. Oh man,
Mhm.
big great advertisement. I last time I drove back to Kansas from Texas, there was a uh yeah, there's an attorney duo, and I want to say Denton. It might have been Sherman. No, it couldn't have been Sherman. So yeah, I think it was Denton. That was Chandler and Ross. It was Chandler and Ross, dude. And I was like, you guys didn't make a friends joke in your advertisement? Like, come on. What are we doing here, folks? Um, anyway, so that was kind of funny. But yeah, well, I think we had a good discussion on this.
Yeah, I think so too.
Rather short, but I think we touched on everything that we needed to touch on. I hope you guys did as well. I hope you enjoyed it, got something out of it. If you've tried Chat GPT, let us know what you think in the chat, in the comments section, in your rating and review, wherever you're listening.
Mhm.
And same, leave your thoughts in those areas if you haven't tried it. Tell us why. What's the hesitancy, or maybe you don't feel like you have a need for it. We'd love to have that discussion. And remember to subscribe, leave a rating and review. Jump on the live stream with us every Thursday. And if you want to support the show monetarily, head on over to our shop. It is linked in the description. All right, man. This was a good one.
Yeah, it was.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, so much for watching, and we'll catch up with you next week.